Hello, welcome to Dun Girls Podcast. I'm your host Justin. Today, for Christmas month 2021, we're playing Digimon World 3 while reviewing Christmas Time at South Park, which is a DVD set that came out, I think, in 2004, right? And it collects, it's obviously released by Comedy Central, rated 14A, and it collects 7 Christmas specials from the South Park series. The first one being A Very Crappy Christmas from 1997, right? Not A Very Crappy Christmas. Mr. Hankey the Christmas Pooh from 1997. Merry Christmas Charlie Manson from 1998. Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics. A Very Crappy Christmas from 2000. Red Sleigh Down, which was one of my favorites, from 2002. It's Christmas in Canada from 2003. And Woodland Critter Christmas from 2004, which is a lot of people's favorite Christmas, South Park Christmas special, right? So the first episode we're reviewing, which is Mr. Hankey Christmas, Mr. Hankey, the Christmas Pooh, which is basically just it's like an episode that's like very that deals with like the whole like war on Christmas, like the whole PC war on Christmas, right? Where like the people of South Park are sick of like the Christian themes of South Park, of Christmas, right? And that's the common theme with all the Christmas specials, is that they love to point out how commercial Christmas is, which is like, gee, yes, Christmas for the businesses. Any holiday really is a grift to make money from the corporations, but Christmas is about not focusing on yourself, but thinking about giving shit to others, right? That's what Christmas is about, man. Like giving gifts instead of receiving, right? That's how I feel, right? And you have they there's like Mr. Garrison, who's like really funny, by the way, in the early seasons, right? Who comes who calls the Kyle's family heathens or whatever, some pagan heathens, which is like, what the holy crap, that's like that was pretty edgy there. Gets in trouble and for his Christmas play or nativity scene or whatever, he has to get rid of all the Christmas stuff, right? Because it offends all the non-Christians, right? And all the PC people. So, this is the episode where you get your first appearance of Mr. Hankey the Christmas Pooh, who, in my opinion, is one of the worst and grossest character of, South Park. Even worse than Mr. Slave, though Mr. Slave is pretty bad, right? Who is a talking piece of poop that, that Kyle keeps telling people, hey, you should be the new mascot of Christmas, right? And, right, and the Mr. Hankey song is actually kind of catchy, I'll give them that, right? I was thinking about it, like, pretty much all day when I was walking my dog, right? Yeah, so, what happens is that, whenever, everybody thinks like Kyle is crazy right, because of the Mr. Hankey, and every time he tries to prove Mr. Hankey's existence, Mr. Hankey fucks him over and just doesn't talk or do anything, or so you just have Kyle waving around a piece of poop, and it's grossing people out. It even ends up in Mr. Not Mr. Garrison. Oh my god, it's been so long since I watched South Park, but I forgot some of the characters' names. like the guidance counselor's coffee, right? Which gets Kyle sent to like an insane asylum, and what ends up happening is that Mr. Hankey shows up to save Christmas, and once they realize that Kyle's not crazy, they go and save him, right? So like the next one, Merry Christmas, Charlie Manson is probably in my top 3 South Park Christmas specials, where it's basically Cartman's family are having like are gonna have like Christmas in Nebraska, right? And like Cartman invites Stan, Kyle, and like Kenny, who's told to bring back some turkey, some leftovers by his poor parents, which is man, like they really have to show like remind us how poor like Kenny is at all times, right? So like Stan is told that he can't go because it's Christmas. It's Christmas, right? You can't go spend it with your friends, family. He sneaks out and lies to like Cartman's mom that my parents died, so I can do whatever I want. So like they go to Nebraska, right, and they meet the Cartman's family, which are pretty much all like copies of Cartman, right? Like there's a scene where like they're having Christmas dinner, and there's an English bulldog named Jimmy, and Grandpa's trying to eat his pot pie, and Jimmy's like begging Grandpa for the pot pie, and they all yell at like Jimmy, "No, Jimmy, that's Grandpa's pot pie. No, Jimmy," and it's very reminiscent of the kitty that the cat that Cartman has that he calls Kitty whenever there's the running joke where he's like, "No, Kitty, this is my my food," or whatever, right? So yeah, what ends up happening is like one of Cartman's relatives named Howard is in jail serving time in the same prison as Charlie Manson, and Charlie Manson and Howard escape prison and are hiding out in the basement, right? Where the basement of Howard's family's home, which is where all the kids are staying at in the basement, right? And they meet Charlie Manson and Howard, right, who are hiding out from the cops. And what happens is that Charlie Manson throughout the episode watched Christmas specials, right? And he basically turns a new leaf and wants to redeem himself, right? And the cops eventually show up. Howard takes the family hostage, but Charlie Manson convinces Howard and them to surrender, right? So yeah, I thought that was a very good episode, right? And I thought I really loved there's scenes where you think Charlie Manson's going to kill Kenny, and then Kenny accidentally gets killed by the police near the end. Which, if people have never seen South Park, that's a running gag, right? So, the third Christmas special, I'm pretty sure it's just, them singing, holiday songs, Christmas style, right? Which, it was all pretty cool. And you also have Kyle singing, Hanukkah songs, right? Which all the songs were pretty good. I really liked the Carol of the Bells by the guidance counselor, whose name escapes me, man. Oh my god, what was his name? It's not Mr. Garrison, obviously. That's the MK guy. MK, oh my god, I can't do any. I can do a decent Cartman impression, but that's pretty much it when it comes to South Park characters. Yeah, so that one, was okay, but it wasn't really anything. So yeah, the next one is a very crappy Christmas. Mr. Hankey's a no-show for Christmas this year. He's busy with his new whore drunk wife and 3 little nuggets. Without Mr. Hankey, the boys are doing everything they can to bring The Spirit of Christmas of South Park. They are inspired to make a video Christmas card starring Jesus Christ and Santa Claus. Where that's where like you this episode gets very meta, where the kids try to make their own Christmas cartoon, and it looks like the South Park, not pilot, but like basically the cartoon that Trey and Matt made, where it's like Santa Claus fighting Jesus, right? So you get to see clips of that in this episode, and I thought this episode was decent, but it still like has a lot of gross scenes with Mr. Hankey, right? The Christmas Pooh, and they straight up rip off like a Lion King song in this episode, which is like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah. So then the next one after that is Red Sleigh Down, which is my favorite. Which is one of my favorites. I think I like this one even more than Critterland Christmas. Which Critterland Christmas is good, but the twist of that that episode, man, kind of ruins it. But Red Sleigh Down is probably my fucking favorite, right? Where, for people who don't know, Black Hawk Down, which is what they're kind of parodying, right, is one of my favorite war films. So they the movie is kind of parodying Black Hawk Down and like that one war movie with George Clooney and two other guys. I can't remember who. I think one was not Ice-T. What's his name? Ice Cube. I forget what it was called. Like Three Kings or something. Where like you got like 3 soldiers in Iraq or whatever going out to steal gold or some shit. I can't remember. But like yeah, this episode is basically about Christmas is coming and Cartman is having Kyle's cousin, nerdy Jewish cousin, do his basically it's kind of like doing his taxes, but instead of taxes, it's like him auditing his like good deeds and bad deeds, and like he's like and like Kyle's cousin tells him, yeah, you're not gonna get any presents this year, Cartman. In fact, you're gonna owe Santa like 365 presents. You would have to cure cancer and AIDS if you want to get a Christmas gift this year, right? So like, what happens is Cartman tries to act good like last minute, and comes up with a scheme with Mr. Hankey to like get Santa to bring Christmas to the Middle East, and because he gave that idea, maybe that will give him enough good boy points to get like a Christmas present that year, which he really wants like a robot dog, right? Which I don't know. I've always thought those robot pets are fucking dumb, right? I know they're like less like they're less like of a hassle than like a real pet, but like the whole point of real pets is like they're cuddly, right? You can't cuddle up with a fucking robot. What are you, a toaster fucker? Yeah. Oh, that's fucking Battlestar Galactica. Toaster fracker should be the joke. But yeah, I don't know. This was my favorite. So what ends up happening is Santa Claus sleigh gets shot down by Iraqis with RPGs, and the boys have to go on a rescue mission with Jesus Christ to save Santa Claus, right? And like, there's like a scene where Santa Claus is getting tortured by this character that was based off a character from Three Kings, if I remember correctly. he's like a French Iraqi actor, but he played like a Iraqi soldier in the Three Kings, right? So that character is based off him, and he's shocked. He's like, he talks like like he speaks like decent English, and he's like my man, like he always says my man, like he uses like not urban slang, but that kind of thing. So like he shocks like Santa Claus balls, and like Santa Claus gets free, and like you think he's pointing a gun at him, and you think he's not going to shoot him, right? And he actually ends up fucking shooting him in the head. He's like, I had to kill him. He shocked Santa Claus balls. He shocked my balls. Yeah. So like, Jesus actually gets heroically sacrificed in this movie, in this episode, which is like, what the fuck? They killed Santa Claus. They killed Jesus in the movie, and then like when they leave, they finally bring Christmas to Iraq, and like Santa Claus makes the speech how like because of Jesus' heroic sacrifice, Christmas will always be a time to remember Jesus and what he's done for us. And it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, so this is probably one of my favorite Christmas South Park Christmas specials. So the second last one is Christmas time. No, it's Christmas in Canada, which aired in 2003. This one was basically, what happens is that Ike's real parents from Canada shows up and takes Ike from like Kyle's parents, because in Canada the new prime minister passed a law that like all Canadian Canadian adopted children can be like taken back by their like by their Canadian biological parents, right? Which you would think in the States that shouldn't apply, but whatever, it does. And what ends up happening is the people of South Park have decided, because like Kyle's parents, I can't remember how to pronounce their names, their last name, because they lost Ike and they're depressed. Instead of buying Christmas gifts that year, they're gonna donate their money that they would have spent on gifts to like Kyle's parents, so they can like have a lawsuit to bring back Ike or whatever. So because of that, everybody's pissed off. All the kids are pissed off, crying. Cartman threatens to kick fucking Kyle's ass because it's Kyle's fault. Right, and you can imagine some of the colorful language that Cartman would have said in this episode, right? Yeah, so what happens is that Kyle decides, well, if we go to Canada, maybe we can talk to the Prime Minister and get Ike back, and then that way our parents won't have to, like, cancel Christmas, right? And we'll get Christmas gifts. So, like, Stan, Kenny, and, like, Cartman go with Kyle to Canada. Apparently, the City Walk also is a city airlines, and like flies them to Canada. But the stupid City Walk guy falls asleep and they crash, right? And like this episode is basically like a parody of like of the Wizard of Oz, where Canada is treated like what was the fantasy world called in Oz? Was it just Oz? I think it was. It's basically like Oz, right? So they meet characters around the way, Canadians around the way who join them on their quest to meet the Prime Minister, right? One's a Mountie who has to ride a sheep because the Prime Minister passed a law, cutting the budget of the Mounties so they can't ride horses anymore. They have to ride sheep. You have the French Canadians are no longer allowed to drink wine, so a French Canadian mime joins their party, and then you have the last and final member, Canadian member who joins the boys is a Newfie who wants to go to meet the Prime Minister because he banned sodomy, and he can't sodomize his boys no more. So it's what the fuck? Which I'm surprised fucking Americans even know what Newfies are. Which if Americans don't know what Newfies are, Newfies are from Newfoundland, right? And Newfoundland is basically one of the poorest provinces in Canada. They make most of their money in fishing, right? And it's it's cold all year pretty much, right? But it's especially cold during the winter, so a lot of times they fuck it. Whatever. Who gives a shit? Nobody gives a shit. I think I fucking who gives a shit, right? I dated a Newfie girl once, and she told me a bunch of shit. They're basically, they're basically think Boston, right? Boston, but if they were we finally unlocked Gallantmon. So we gotta go to the Digimon lab. So think people from Boston, but if they also had a crack problem, because a lot of Newfies in Newfoundland have drug problems, from what I hear. So they finally go to meet the Prime Minister, and it turns out to be Saddam Hussein. Which there was an episode where Saddam Hussein tried to conquer Canada, and Terrence and Phillip had to stop him, right? So that was yeah. So they referenced that episode, right? Yeah. So that was a decent episode. Not my favorite. So the last one, Woodland Critter Christmas, which came out in 2004, which is it's narrated kind of a Dr. Seuss cartoon or something, but it's narrated by Trey Parker, and it's basically about the story of Stan meets these these talking cute animals, which are all named after what they are, Squirrely the squirrel, Rabbity the rabbit, Porcupine the porcupine, Porcupiney the porcupine, and basically they're these talking animals that are celebrating Christmas, and in the forest they need Stan's help for a bunch of reasons. First one was they need a star on their Christmas tree. Second, they need a manger for porcupines, virgin birth. She's having a baby, and then the third thing they needed was Stan to kill a mountain lion, which he does. But it turns out the mountain lion had 3 cubs, right? Which Stan orphaned, which they all can talk, and they all sound like kids. So Stan feels really bad about that. And it turns out that the critters, there's a plot twist, right? And it gets super dark. It turns out that the critters are Satanists, satanic beings that are trying to bring the Antichrist to life, and the Antichrist is going to be Porcupine's baby. And there's a blood orgy in this episode, which was pretty gross, right? And how Stan saves the world is by like teaching. He hears he needs like a mountain lion to like kill the critters. So he goes to like the free mountain clubs. The free mountain lion cubs, and teaches them how to perform an abortion. And what ends up happening? They go to confront the critters. It turns out the critters have satanic powers. Santa Claus shows up with a shotgun, kills them, and what ends up happening is that Kyle, who was about to be sacrificed by said Satanist critters, decides to willingly give his like body over to like the Antichrist, right? But what ends up happening is that they're able to save Kyle, but because the mountain lion cubs perform an abortion on him, taking out the Antichrist baby. And it turns out the whole thing was a story that Cartman had the right for Christmas. Which, when I first was introduced to the Woodland Critters, it wasn't through this, it was through the Imagination Land, like two-parter or three-parter, like special. So that kind of ruined my enjoyment from this episode, but overall I thought it was a really cool episode. A lot of action, a lot of twists and turns, right? I didn't expect it. I thought the blood orgy and the satanic shit was dark enough, but it got even darker when our heroes had to learn how to perform an abortion, right? Which was, oh my god. Yeah, so Kevin Street, who's a friend of the channel, is also going to review Woodland Critter Christmas. So make sure to check out that review. So overall, I would recommend this DVD, and I would give it like a 7 out of 10. I didn't enjoy like a lot of the Mr. Hankey episodes, but like I thought overall the episodes were decent, but I thought the best episodes were the Charlie Manson Christmas, the Red Sleigh Down, and Woodland Critter Christmas. So that's all I have to say for this review. And tomorrow I'm going to post a review for Neon Genesis Evangelion Thrice Upon a Time. I finally found an English dub version on Odyssey, which I'm going to watch and review. So if we have time, we'll either review like Deck the Halls, or we're going to review like a short Christmas cartoon for Christmas month.